Today in the battle arena, we've got the Megalodon, the largest shark of all time, taking on the Kraken, a sea monster of legend and absolutely ridiculous size. So who's ultimately coming out on top here? Which sea monster is going to take it all? Well, today, that's what we're going to find out. What's up, guys? This is DanCo. I do fight breakdowns, power ranking videos, or more deep dives into your favorite characters and franchises, with new videos every week. So if that seems great to you, well, sit back and enjoy the video. Hit that like button if you want to, or hit the subscribe button while you're at it. You may think that you're afraid of the great white shark, but around 20 million years ago, there was another apex predator in the oceans that could easily put the great white in its place. It was called the Megalodon. It was a gargantuan shark that dominated the oceans for well over 10 million years before finally going extinct around 3 or 5 million years ago. The Megalodon were absolutely massive animals, growing anywhere from 60 to 90 feet and weighing somewhere between 30 to 65 tons. So basically, they are very, very large and likely somewhat resembled a typical modern-day great white. They have jaws that stretched over 10 feet and held over 250 sharp serrated teeth, with each tooth measuring up to 7 inches long. And based on their size, it's theorized they had a bite force somewhere around 40,000 psi, or pounds per square inch, which, just to give you some idea, that's very, very powerful. I mean, just to give you perspective, a saltwater crocodile has a bite force of 3,700 psi. A great white has a bite force of at most 4,000 psi. The Giganotosaurus had a bite force of 6,000 psi. Even the T-Rex had a bite force of just 12,000 psi. So yeah, 40,000 psi is a whole lot. Even taking into account dinosaur-sized mouths and jaws, there is nothing, or has never been anything, that compares to a Megalodon's bite force. But then again, not many other animals ever felt the need to try and make a supersized whale their dinner. With its massive bite force, it's easy to imagine that the Megalodon could simply chomp through just about anything that was swimming in the ocean with it, right? Well, yeah, that's probably right. It's perfectly reasonable to assume that the Megalodon ate just about any creature it could hunt, from as small as a dolphin to other sharks to other megalodons to even something as large as a humpback whale. The Megalodon is what we call an apex predator, meaning that nothing hunted it while everything else was below it in the food chain. So then why in the world did something this big and powerful go extinct? Well, during the Pliocene era, the planet endured a period of prolonged cooling, during which time many creatures at the lower end of the food chain died, which left much less food for the larger predators at the top. And perhaps unable to compete with faster, more nimble predators, the larger and more lumbering Megalodon may well have been unable to sustain its population in these cooler waters, eventually dying out. Although who knows, some people still believe that the Megalodon is still out there swimming the seas, not just a thing of legend. Speaking of legends, the Kraken is easily the most popular and the most terrifying sea monster in any legend. Described as a cephalopod resembling a giant octopus or squid, but just completely enormous, the beast is said to be capable of enveloping whole ships in the grasp of its tentacles and dragging them beneath the depths. The Kraken have been spoken of in sailors' tales and featured in various works of fiction since the 13th century, with these monsters being said to dwell off the coast of Norway and Greenland. A 13th century Icelandic saga tells of two massive sea monsters called the Sea Mist and Leatherback, with the Sea Mist believed to be a reference to the Kraken. Now, whales are the biggest animals swimming in the ocean, but the Sea Mist dwarfs them in size, and it's the greatest monster in the water. It's in its very nature to swallow men and whales and whole ships and basically everything it can reach. It'll stay submerged for most of the time, but when it strikes at the surface of the water, it will destroy everything in its path. Now, it's entirely possible that the Kraken could have really existed. It could have just been very early sightings of a colossal squid, which can grow up to 100 feet long, including the tentacles. From there, the legend could have grown, because while the giant squid normally lives at great depths, they've been sighted up at the surface of the water and even reportedly been known to attack ships. Now, a lot's unknown about the Kraken, and so that kind of makes it hard to gauge in an actual fight, especially against an actual animal that we know existed. I mean, according to legend, the Kraken isn't just big enough to attack ships and cause them to sink, but to take the entire ship and drag it down to the infernal depths of the ocean. Some legends even have the Kraken with a body so big that it was mistaken for an island. It lured ships with the promise of a safe landing, and then snap, its mouth would close around the unfortunate prey, swallowing the ship whole. But ancient sailors aren't exactly a reliable source of information here, so we're gonna mix legend with fact and model the Kraken off of squids and octopuses. Besides, the Kraken wouldn't have to be as large as an island to be a worthy opponent. Even if you make it just 3 times as large as the average giant squid, that would be roughly 130 feet long, so still bigger than the Megalodon. The underside of its long tentacles are covered in suction cups and capped with rotating hooks. Instead of teeth, the Kraken has a beak on its underside that can pierce even the hardest of shells or hides. And of course, its favorite pastime is sinking any nearby passing ships by creating giant whirlpools. Now, let me paint the picture here. We're off the coast of Norway, where the Kraken's and the Megalodon's territories overlap. It's night, the prime hunting time for both of these ocean beasts. The Megalodon would have the initial advantage, sensing the vibrations of the Kraken up ahead, and so stealthily, it could stalk the Kraken. It would circle its prey at a distance, sizing up the formidable foe, and then it would strike. The Megalodon would swim full speed at the Kraken, ramming into it and sinking its teeth into the Kraken's delicate skin. And like we said, it's quite a chomp. And it's not just its bite that would be bad. The Kraken, weighing around 3 tons, would be no match for the 50 tons of shark that just collided with it at high speed. But the Megalodon wouldn't be able to finish off the Kraken with just one bite. So it would release the Kraken and circle again, preparing for its next strike. But the Kraken actually has a trick up its sleeve. It could either spray ink into the water, or it would vomit up its digested food. Either way, muddying the surrounding water, all the different smells and vibrations would disorient the Megalodon. And from there, what the Kraken lacks in weight, it makes up for in strength. Like an octopus, 90% of its body is pure muscle. It would whip its tentacles around, catching hold of the Megalodon with its wicked hooks. The Megalodon would struggle, using its body weight to try and escape the Kraken. But the Kraken is too strong. It's able to bring down whole ships, and its grip would be unshakable as its suction cups cling onto the Megalodon. The Megalodon could bite into one of the Kraken's tentacles, tearing it apart, but that wouldn't be enough. The Kraken would continue to wrap up the Megalodon, bringing the shark to its mouth, and with its giant beak, it would bite into the monster shark. 1 or maybe 2 bites, and the Megalodon would be defeated. And if you don't believe me, we've actually found scarring on sperm whales and other whales from giant squid attacks. We know that modern day giant squids are actually capable of defeating modern day great whites. And since for all intents and purposes, these are just upscaled versions of those animals, it's not that much of a leap to say the same thing would happen here. It would be one heck of a fight, but the Kraken would come out on top in the end. But what do y'all think? Sound off in the comments down below. I know you're gonna have thoughts and feelings on this one for sure. If you stuck around this long and made it to the end of the video, that's amazing. Thank you so much for watching and for supporting us. And if you want to go subscribe, well, go subscribe. You're going to see more videos like this one every single week. I'll see y'all then. I'll see y'all next time.